power. Love power. Love power. Greatest power. Greatest feeling in the world. Love power, Carol. I don't know. Fury. The power of righteous anger. That's pretty good power too. But love power feels better. It's better for your health. It's better for all kinds of stuff. Hi, welcome to Monkey Time. Carol, so was it flesh-eating bacteria last week?
It was a staph infection, but not the MRSA, as far as I know.
But it was from a bug bite.
Yes. No,
That's what they think. Wow, Carol got bit by a bug and knocked her out for a solid week. Multiple trips to the urgent care place. At one point, what did the nurse say? We're going to treat it as if it's flesh-eating bacteria. Those are words you do not want to hear come out of your nurse's mouth, your doctor's mouth. Well, just to be sure, let's treat it as if it's MRSA, right? Yeah. Can I show you a couple quick things real fast? I work at a used book, good and record store on Hillsborough Street, and we've been digging deep into our treasure trove of old magazines, and we're pulling out these awesome ads. Can I show them this one, Carol? Look, this is just great. This is Chesterfield's. You know, look at her. Look at what she a bride. Isn't that kind of like she's like, marry me, I'll give you cigarettes. Always buy Chesterfield, ABC. Always milder, better tasting, cooler smoking. Oh, look at that beautiful ad. Wait, here's another one. Now, Carol, this is one I know people are being like, Todd, you're so weird to think this is beautiful, but I love this ad. Here, wait, show it from far away. Yeah, that's even better. Look at that. It's just the watch. Here, close up. It's just the watch. Look at the detail in that ad. Oh, it's so awesome. And that font is just incredible. All the fonts, the little stars in between the boulevard. That's just great. Wait, let me give you another one. This is one of my favorites.
This is before Photoshop. This is somebody's painting.
Right, that's right. They painted this crap. Well, Photoshop's good. This is classic. There's the doctor late at night making house calls. Remember that? Those are coming back now, Carol. Not just for animals, but this is more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Can you imagine that, Carol? And look, they've got the T-zone here. You can't really see it, but the T-zone was your taste and throat zone, which was the laboratory through which you could test whether Camels were the most delicious and soothing cigarette on the market for you, while thinking about your doctor smokes them too. And then on the other side of this one, on the other side of the Camel ad, is this, which is a Shenley ad. And here's the thing, you can't see it, but down here, Shenley Reserve, right? Whiskey, there's a little beautiful, look at that, rooster. Down here, it says pre-war quality. This is from 1947, I think, 46 or 47. I love that. So by looking at these ads, you get a really neat glimpse into what the culture was. And after World War II, there had been this privation. We're in a war right now, and none of us, if you're not directly affected by having a family member who's come back wounded or has come back or is over there now, if you're not, or does not come back, actually, if you're not directly affected by it, there's nothing in the larger culture, very little in the larger culture that tells us we're still at war. And Carol, and so anyway, so let alone that we're all having butter rations or something. So whiskey, what'd you say? The liquor rations. Well, liquor apparently during the war was of lesser quality. So after we won, after the Nazis were defeated and democracy won, the Madison Avenue people made sure to tell everybody our whiskey is back up to pre-war quality levels. I love that. Let's see. There was two more, Carol. That's okay. Just leave it. It's okay. I can check. This one is when automatic drive first hit, on cars. This is a good one. Except it wasn't automatic drive. It was hydromatic drive. Why? What did water have to do with it? But the drive that shifts for itself. That means there's no need for clutch pushing or any clutch pedal whatsoever in italics there. So hydromatic drive. They had it apparently in the late 30s, early 40s. And then this one, Carol, this is my favorite because the sexism in these ads is just hilarious. Wait, where is it? There we go. Can you see that? Got the right man? Then keep him right with the right kind of mattress. Better rest makes better husbands. I love this kind of stuff. Okay, all right, we're done. So what we were hearing, the music we were hearing at the Yeah, we've been loving going through those old ads. You learn so much about the culture of the time, although not everything, because it's just ads. You can learn a lot about America from its ads, Carol, but there's a whole other real world that isn't shown in ads, right? Right? When was the last time you saw, like, even just regular TV shows? There's no heavy people on ads, except if they're clowns, right? So anyway, so you can only tell a little bit about a culture with its ads or through its ads, but you can tell there's a lot in that little bit, I guess is all I'm saying. You don't see no black people in any ads from the 1940s, very few. So we have something they can do, Carol. Can we tell them something they can do directly? I know it's summertime. Nobody really wants to do anything, and it's really hitting summer right now. But the Senate is going to take up the fracking bill. The House passed it. The Senate's going to take it up. And Bev Perdue will then have 10 days after the Senate passes it. This is a bill that's legalizing fracking. Now, it's not clear what's going to happen with the wastewater. Remember, fracking, they inject these chemicals and this water into the ground. This bill doesn't have any provisions that the House passed, doesn't have any provisions for that. Nobody's talking about requirements for monitoring groundwater. Maybe it's in there, I don't know. But I don't hear anybody talking about what are the requirements for monitoring groundwater for fracking companies. You know, the Republican House, they're not going to do that, right? These regulations will come later with this commission that this fracking bill sets up that's stacked. Right? 7 out of 9 people, I believe, on the commission come from the mining industry. That's just crazy. So the Senate's going to probably pass a very similar bill. Bev Perdue will have 10 days to decide whether to veto it. Now, Bev Perdue has come out in favor of fracking as long as it's done safely, but this is not the right bill. This is not a bill that's going to guarantee safe fracking in North Carolina. Remember, she can veto this, and it looks like there's not enough, at this point, there are not enough votes to override Bev Perdue's veto. So Bev, you can say very clearly, Bev, you're on your way out. She's got another, there's now this new scandal that's hit. Did you see this in the paper yesterday? Purdue staff altered letters. Some people say this is a tempest in a teapot. Other people say, no, this is really basically the money that was going to get approved for some road projects in the future. The gentleman in charge of this at the DOT said, no, let's use that money. Those projects are not ready. Let's use that money for projects that are ready next year instead of in 2014. So we're going to use that money for something else. He went out of town. Somebody in Bev Perdue's office electronically changed the letter and then electronically used this guy's signature to pass that along to try to get the money approved faster for projects that the DOT said weren't quite ready yet. That's the scandal in a nutshell. So now the question is, as we dig deeper and deeper and deeper, well, whose projects were these? Were these people who were donors to Bev Perdue and her people? Or was it really just this kind of oversight where, oh, I thought that when we put his signature on it that he would have agreed with that? You know, there's all kinds of questions that this is raising. And of course, the money is the key. Where was the money going to go? Who benefits from those projects that the money was going to go to? And what is their connection to the people that faked the signature? Just simple, straightforward questions. Hopefully we'll get more and more answers as we go. I didn't read the article today closely, so maybe some of those things have been answered, but we were so busy at work today. What is it with reading in the summer, Carol? People are going crazy. It's been crazy at work. I'm not complaining, but yeah, I don't even get a chance to breathe half the time at work. So, which is better than being not busy, right? Right. So, anyway. Perdue needs to be focused. She needs to be focused on the fracking thing. She's halfway out the door, it looks like. She can do some real good for North Carolina's future by making her objections very clear, saying this is why this fracking bill is bad. Now, who knows what kind of money and favors are being passed around behind closed doors to get Bev Perdue not to veto the fracking bill. Carol, you know, we used to joke about Bev Perdue going out in a whirlwind of left-wing glory. That ain't going to happen. It's not even worth joking about. It's too depressing to even joke about. But man, Bev, that'd be awesome if you could do even just a couple of things, and the fracking bill would be a great one. So, people, this is Bev Perdue's office number right here. There's an 800 number, but why should you pay for the state to use an 800 number when we're all in Wake County and it's a local call? So there you go. And you can just call her sometime this week. Tomorrow morning. Call Bev Purdue's office and say, I really think she needs to veto this. That commission that they've set up is stacked. It's unfair. It's not going to look at the data scientifically. It's just going to rubber stamp whatever we want. We want a fair commission to set these rules. We don't need, you can see how scared the Republicans are when they pass a bill setting up a fracking commission where 7 of the 9 people are from the fracking companies. Why would they feel the need to do that if they weren't worried that as you look dispassionately at what's going on, there are many, many questions that will need to be rubber stamped as quickly as possible, so we better stack the commission. Bev Purdue, there you go. There's your thing. Just say that commission is not going to come up with fair rules for fracking. Bev needs to veto the bill. Does that make sense? Is that fair, Carol? That seems pretty straightforward. That's one. 2, there was a neat little article in the NNO. There was I think it was yesterday, a discussion, a report about how fracking isn't the cause of earthquakes. So, Carol, injecting the water in, breaking up the shale, and pulling it out isn't really the cause of the earthquakes that we see. There's only one that they can demonstrate. What is the cause is when they take the wastewater, Carol, that they don't know what to do with. And it's interesting. What does the North Carolina bill say about how the wastewater is going to be treated? The bill that flew through the House and is going to fly through the Senate next week. Well, those are good questions. Let's look at that. I don't know what it says about wastewater and how wastewater will be treated. It would surprise me if once you inject all that chemical-laden water into the shale and crack it and frack it up, right? Then you pull that out and start pumping stuff out. You've got all this junk wastewater. Does the House bill address how that's going to be dealt with? What they do in other states is they re-inject it, right, into the ground under high pressure. And that's what causes the earthquakes. Now, according to this article in the NNO, the House bill does not legalize underground fluid waste disposal. So what do they do with it? What's the plan? That'll be interesting to look at, right? So we need to look at that. What's the Senate going to say about that? So again, I'm just with you. I mean, I'm just trying to understand as much as I can, mainly at this point by reading the papers and reading websites and seeing what I can come up with. So those are good questions. What do the North Carolina fracking companies plan to do with the wastewater? It's garbage. Now, what is the plan for monitoring of the groundwater around the sites? If you're going to allow a commission that's stacked 7 out of 9 in favor of the mining companies to decide how much groundwater monitoring is going to happen, you're crazy. That's basic. The groundwater monitoring should have nothing to do with the mining companies. They should have to pay for it. But they should have nothing to do with how much. Science should have something to do with how many of those sites there are, where they're placed, and what we need to know about what's happening with the groundwater. It's not an easy process, scientific monitoring of groundwater. But allowing the mining companies to decide how much it has, oh man, that's just crazy. All right, so Purdue's got her own thing now. I think, and then there was the other thing in today's paper about how the, ALE people were using state cars to drive long distances across the state for personal business. I mean, Bev Purdue came into office. This is the problem when you resign, Carol. Bev Purdue came into office, really pushing a big cleanup. And she's just completely dropped the ball if this stuff is happening. I mean, you can argue it's not Bev Purdue's fault but she retires, and all of a sudden we're starting to get all these reports about people just slacking off, and these are upper level people. I think it was ALE. Maybe it was, I forget. But these are upper level people at state departments under Purdue who are now, suddenly at the worst possible time under a Democratic administration when we're already fighting to push back this Republican tide in the state. They're acting like corrupt children. This is ridiculous. Come on, Bev, don't just slack off and leave us. It's bad enough that you didn't fight. You're not fighting McCrory. At least you had name recognition. Dalton, who's running on the Democratic side for governor, I mean, he looks better than McCrory, that's for sure. McCrory is just like, ooh, have you ever watched him talk? Pat McCrory? Is there anything really likable about him? I don't know. I just don't see it when I see him talk. It's just pure oily surface politician. That's what you see with Pat McCrory. Now, that's what I see with all of them, frankly, but with Pat McCrory, it's just particularly, I don't know. They say he used to be somewhat progressive when he was mayor of Charlotte, but that is long since gone. And listen carefully, monkeys. Can we put up, I forget what number it is. I think it's number 5 or 6, maybe 7. 7. Art Pope, and I know he's a bugaboo, but it's true. This is what he's doing. Art Pope is planning. This is what he does. You can debate how powerful Art Pope is, but you cannot debate that Art Pope sits down with other wealthy Republicans and just strategic Republicans and strategizes how best to turn North Carolina into a permanent far right-wing red state. It's so easy nowadays when a left-wing person like me, I'm a left-leaning libertarian. That's basically what it comes down to on most issues, although I think libertarians have a lot of simple-minded black and white thinking when it comes to economic issues. I really do. But on social issues, I'm staunchly libertarian and left on just about everything. But someone like me, a left-leaning person, mentions the name Art Pope, and it's so easy for the Rob Christensens of the world just to kind of go, oh yeah, you guys are just so paranoid, it's so funny they have a monster, Art Pope. It's like, but if you look what the man does, look at what he does, he is definitely part of a coordinated effort. There's nothing wrong with this per se, and it's certainly not paranoid to point out that the man is orchestrating a coordinated political campaign to push North Carolina. He's one of many, but he's definitely at the center there. He's part of the group, the main group who's doing the driving of this, pushing, funding candidates and doing all that. He's definitely doing this, pushing North Carolina into a permanent red state status. That's his goal. And it's our goal to stop that. Now, here's the thing. Art Pope and ALEC, the American Legislative Something Council, a bunch of other organizations nationally are salivating at the chance to use North Carolina as a test state if North Carolina does not elect a Democratic governor. That would mean, remember, we will have a Republican House in North Carolina, a Republican Senate, and if McCrory wins the governorship instead of Dalton, then we will have a full Republican government in North Carolina. That is a viable option at this point, and Art Pope is salivating, and his friends, they are salivating at the chance to finally get to just be able to just shove everything through the legislature that they want with no chance of even a kind of lame centrist Democrat like Perdue to occasionally toss out a veto. If Dalton does not win the Democratic, the Democrat doesn't win the governorship in the fall, we are going to see massive change on immigration, on abortion. We've already seen it here in North Carolina. Hey, you're on the air.
Yeah, I think that it'll be more, I'm a Democrat, and I'm from Raleigh, and I think that it would be more substantial for us to have a Republican because Bear Perdue has done nothing but mess up North Carolina. We've lost more jobs in a little bit. The state government jobs have just completely went downward.
Well, wait, that's not, wait, why is that because of her? Wait, why is that because of Bev Perdue? Wait a minute, I'm having trouble understanding this. The budget that passed the legislature was pretty much, those cuts came from the Republicans in the House and Senate, most of them. That's, Bev Perdue tried to preserve as much of the education stuff as she could, but most of the cuts were from Tom Tillis and the folks in the Republican Senate. Why are you blaming Perdue for that?
Okay, I thought she more so could, maybe could have did a little bit more.
How? She's she's got a Republican House and Senate. She could veto a few things, but she could only veto. I'm trying to be sympathetic, although I'm with you. I think she's been fairly ineffective. But I don't. You really think a Republican governor is going to be better?
I don't don't think it'll be better, but I mean, it can't be no worse. I mean, Mike Easley, he came and messed everything up.
Well,
she just added on, so I don't think it could be any worse.
I think it will definitely be much, much worse. I think you're going to see massive cuts, the kind of cuts that you're complaining about today. If McCrory wins the governorship and we have a Republican in the governor's seat and the House and the Senate, you're going to see the cuts you saw in the last year they're going to be nothing. I think they're just going to be nothing. You don't think so? That's what they want to do is cut, cut, cut. And they're going to cut the public sector more than anything.
Yeah, I mean,
we're going to see.
I guess you got a, I guess you got a point right there. I mean, because with most Republicans, they want to cut spending and they want to basically cut most of the funding that they can.
All kinds of spending, any kind of social spending, Republicans don't do. They will, unless it's Tom Tillis's adulterous friends. Then they get severance packages, Carol. Let me ask you this: you know about Dalton, right?
Yeah, I know about Dalton.
All right, Dalton's the Democrat running for governor. And, I don't know a whole lot about him at this point. But what I do know is if we need to at least have one block against a complete Republican control of the North Carolina governor, or government. I mean, we need that.
The commercials and the ads and everything are saying about him. I mean, that McCrory is basically trying to make him to be pretty much a fool.
Well, they're both doing that. Why would you even pay attention to TV ads? Why would you even pay attention to? No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Why? You know what they are. On the Democrat, on all sides. I don't care, the independent people. They take a specific little thing and distort it like crazy to present something to you. You know that. We all know that. Why do you pay any kind of attention to TV ads, political ads? You shouldn't.
I don't know why I did. I guess it just caught my attention one day because
don't believe any of them. Democrat or Republican. Come on, you're an adult. You know this, right? They make it sound convincing. They make it sound, oh, well, this is fact and fact. And then when you look at the actual truth, you find out that they've distorted it. That happens again and again and again. And anybody who looks at a TV ad for a politician or against a politician, I don't care if it's your favorite politician or not, anybody who looks at a TV ad and believes that that's the truth is a damn moron. I'm sorry, that's just true. You got to look at those ads as complete lies from top to bottom, and then do your own research, right?
Exactly.
Then do your own research. So anyway, look.
I guess I got to really do my research on this Dalton guy. I mean, because like I said, I mean, the way North Carolina is and everything that's been going on with the two last Democratic.
Dude, if you really think that a Republican governor and a Republican House and a Republican Senate is going to be better and less corrupt than anything we've seen from the Democrats, woo! You got another thing coming. Look at the Republicans in the House and Senate this year. You saw how corrupt they were. You saw, Tillis, they're sleeping with the lobbyists. They were practically in the House chamber having sex on the floor. That's basically what was happening. And Tillis is saying, I didn't know anything about this, right? And he rooms with the guy. This was one of his aides sleeping with a lobbyist. Both of them were married. You heard about this, right?
No, I haven't.
Oh, this is your Republicans. They're just as corrupt. And this is what we need. My dad used to tell me this all the time. He's like, please just split it so that half of them are blocking the other half from getting what they want. That was my dad's advice, and I love that advice. So we're going to keep a Republican House. We're going to keep a Republican Senate. For God's sake, people, get off your ass and make sure we at least get a Democratic governor so that the juggernaut will be stopped, because they are planning it, sir. Art Pope and the Republicans and all the wealthy donors, they are planning North Carolina to be a test state for the worst kind of Republican stuff. We're going to see abortion go by the wayside, all kinds of brand new restrictions. We're going to see all kinds of stuff about immigration go crazy, right? They're going to go crazy on that. The same thing that they did in Georgia that hurt the farmers so much, right? Oh, man, caller. I mean, I don't care how fed up you are with Democrats. If you really think that you got to stop and realize we need to have a Democrat in the governor's seat to stop these guys from getting everything they want with no slowdown. You know what I'm saying? They will be able to do whatever they want with nobody able to vote against them. This state, stick a fork in this state's ass and turn it over if that happens, because we will be done.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's going, I mean, it's probably going to be like another Florida where it's just going to be, divided between the two. So.
Oh, yeah, and then
the way things are going.
look what they did in Florida. That voter rolls, they're just purging all kinds of poor people from the voter rolls, hoping that they don't think to check and go and get themselves back on the voter rolls. They're just automatically removing people from the voting rolls, knowing that they're going to get a lot of poor Democrats that way. That's the kind of thing we're up against if a Democrat doesn't take the governorship.
Right.
All right.
I totally agree.
All right. Well, I'm just saying this is serious. If they get control of everything, this state is over. All right. We got to go. All right. Thanks for calling, man. All right. Bye-bye. See what happens, Democrats, when you get corruption? It turns people off like that. But McCrory, oh, man. How much time I got? 30 seconds. All right. Can you put up the thing about the downtown sports bar and grill? Have you guys heard about this? WRAL did a story about this. I'll link to it on my Twitter page. The downtown sports bar, there was an accusation on Facebook, and WRAL has kind of followed up a little bit. The accusation is that they're turning black people away with these bullcrap membership rules that happen to change depending on the color of the skin of the person who is at the door. We're going to look into this and talk more about it next week. Go to my Twitter page. I'll link to a couple of articles about it. Take care of each other.